I knew it was coming and it got me anyways. I also watched this movie twice. The first time it got me. Second time around, I'm just kind of watching with the wife. And I'm just like, I don't know when it's coming. It's going to come soon. She's going to be so scared. And then it got her and it got me too. I'm like, damn it. I was doing this for her and it got me too again.
Welcome in, everybody, to another HTGS movie review. I am your host, Rob Coakley, joined as always by Dave Wilkins.
Hello, Rob Coakley.
And Jesse Wilkins.
What's going on, gentlemen?
And today we are covering one of the most talked about horror movies of 2025. It is now streaming on HBO Max. We are talking about Weapons. And I just want to give a disclaimer before we get into anything at all. If you don't know about this movie by now, you should watch this movie completely blind. Just go into it without knowing anything. So that means pause this, go watch it, immediately come back and finish watching this video. But I just wanted to give that out there because I think even before we get into the synopsis, that it's important to put that out there. And we are going to spoil this movie as well. But without further ado,
you want to hit us with the synopsis?
So yeah, synopsis works for this movie.
Weapons 2025, directed by Zach Kreger. When all but one kid from the same classroom mysteriously vanish on the same night at exactly the same time, the entire community is left wondering who or what kind of incompetent adult supervision could be behind it. So, keep it brief with the synopsis on this one because I really don't want to spoil anything for anybody who hasn't seen it yet, because I do think you should go back and watch this movie before watching this review, because it is one of the better ones of the year. I think it's definitely in my top 3 for sure. I thought this movie was super enjoyable. I thought it was packed with a ton of allegories and a ton of sort of ambiguous messages that they wanted to get across, and I can't wait to unpack all of it.
Yeah, I think it is also just the way they told this story is done so well. I'm not going to say it's like never been done before, but it's done very well. And it's funny because I just watched another movie that tried to tell a story, not in the same exact way, but they tried to do the different perspectives from characters. And I hated it. The other one that I watched, which is a new movie on Netflix called A House of Dynamite. And I thought that they did that terribly, whereas this movie does it so well. And it's so enjoyable that the way that this movie does it.
Yeah.
And
it's definitely been done before. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but I know that I've seen numerous movies where you get different character perspectives, where there isn't really one true protagonist, because you get a lot of them.
Yeah.
And this one does it really, really well. I agree. And I think part of the reason that they do it so well is because there's a lot of overlap. Like, they're not afraid to replay an event that happened from an opposite perspective, which I thought was really cool.
But they don't always do it either. Like, they'll cut it at the point sometimes as well. Right. Whereas like when I was watching that other movie, it was just the same scene 4 times from different perspectives. It's like, how many times am I going to watch this conversation happen? And it's not like anything was going on either. So like that's why like this movie does it so well, where they'll show you that same scene sometimes when they're showing you another character's perspective, they're giving you more context of the situation that's going on. I thought it was done phenomenally from that aspect. And that's why I really enjoyed this movie. It just felt different from other things that have been coming out lately, and that's
because there were subtle changes as well. So like it was advancing the story each time. You were getting a few of the same scenes that would overlap a little bit, but if you notice, if it's coming from the police officer's perspective, the camera angles all changed. So It was, like you had that scene in the bar where she's sitting at the bar drinking her whiskey, waiting to see if this guy would show up. And then you get that angle. And then when it flips to his perspective of the story, you get him walking into the bar, but the camera's following him into the bar. So you get the lead up to it, you get the reasoning behind it, you get the backstory, and then you get a little bit of a different take on the scene. And then it cuts to different moments. Then you get the morning after in that scene and kind of continues the story. And I thought it really was genius the way that they did this. Because like you guys were saying, like other movies have done this and other movies have done it well, but most movies do it poorly, where you're just getting the same scenes over and over again. You're like, I get it. Like, I know this because you already told me this story 6 times. I don't need to see it from everyone's other point of view. But they did it beautifully in this one. I thought they really told the story well.
I agree. So I think from this point, it's just going to be kind of spoiler heavy because I don't know how else you talk about this movie without spoiling it for the most part. But it is, God, this movie is so good. I don't even know where to begin with this. You don't know what this movie is. If you go into this movie without anyone telling you anything, you have no idea what this movie is going to turn into. Like there's little hints here and there, but the first time I watched this movie, I had no idea where we were going through like half the movie probably. And then when we finally got there, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe this is this type of movie. But before we do that, I'm gonna bring up one of my nitpicks on this. I hated it the first time I watched it. I hated it even more the second time I watched it. I hate the opening voiceover. I don't think it was needed at all. I think that we could figure out what was going on in this movie without that opening voiceover that lasted like a minute and a half.
Well, there's an important thing in that opening voiceover that I think is very important to the end of the movie, and it can very easily be missed. And I didn't pick up on it the first time I watched it. I picked up on it the second time I watched it. The voiceover comes from a narrator who is not actually in the movie. Sounds like it's from a kid, and a kid's just reminiscing on the events that happened 2 years ago, according to the narration. And that the narration said, now this is after the fact, 2 years after the fact, that the kids disappeared into the night and were never seen again. So if you watch the whole movie, now here we go with the spoilers. We already warned you. The end of the movie, the kids came back. So what is that voiceover talking about? Was it a mistake? Because at first I was like, oh, they fucked up. They said the kids never came back. But I actually think that it was implying that they came back, but they were shells of themselves.
Yeah.
Which was actually a parasite. Which they reference parasites numerous times throughout the movie. We talked about tapeworms and other things like that.
Mm-hmm.
The which drains the people, and if once they're drained far enough, they're gone. But if where she was stopped part way through, they got shells of the kids back. But you might not have put that together without that opening voiceover, which says they never came back.
It could be more simple than that. This is the beginning of the movie, and she was catching you up to where they were at that point in the movie, because at that point in the movie, the kids never came back.
Sort of.
So it could be just as simple as an intro to the movie, and they're setting the scene for where we are right now.
I don't think so, because she said 2 years ago these things happened.
Oh, yeah. And that was like a couple weeks.
That was an important detail. So she said the kids never came back. So it's either the two things that I said, something else that I might have missed, or it was a mistake, which I don't think it was a mistake.
No, I think it's definitely the shell of themselves, because to the point that you're making there are characters that get under that spell like right at the end of the movie, right when it's broken as well. And those characters are fine because they were only under that spell for a few minutes. The people that were under it longer are the ones that were having a little bit more trouble. And some of the kids were like right on the borderline, because they were saying some were starting to come out, others were not. But the parents of Alex, I believe, was the kid that didn't get whisked away in the middle of the night. They were gone. They were gone, and they tell you how they were gone at the end of the movie. So I think that is I think you're right on that, Dave. But I just don't think I needed the voiceover. I think we could have done.
Your complaint is the delivery of the information, not that the information in the voiceover was bad.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
It felt out of place. Like the voiceover felt out of place. It comes back in at the end, and you're like, we had no narrator through the movie. I don't know, dude. I just didn't need it. I could have used the text crawl and I would have been fine with it.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was. I didn't dislike it at all. Actually, I thought that, and then kind of flowing into that music, that song with the kids running off into the night. I thought it was eerie, and I thought it looked and sounded good.
Well,
So
to each their own on that particular one. But then we sort of jump into the movie. We're following the teacher at first, and it's Julie Gardner, and the acting in this movie is great.
mm-hmm.
Everybody in this movie is phenomenal.
Yeah.
From top to bottom. There's no one in this movie that I didn't enjoy their performance. It was, spoiler, Justin Long's in this movie, but it's for about 4 seconds he lives, which is insane.
But I was like, oh, he's here. How is he going to die?
Yeah, exactly.
They didn't kill him off. That was fun. But with Julie Gardner's character here, I think we get one of our first allegories and what the movie was trying to push, right? I feel like there were several different messages. The movie's called Weapons. So I was like, which I thought was a weird title before I saw the movie. I'm like, what could this be about? So this whole time I'm trying to figure out what weapons are, where the weapons come in. And I think towards the end, there's an obvious, like an overt sort of reason they called it weapons, and that was that the witch was using the kids as weapons,
right?
But I think there were other references to weapons also, and I think that with the teacher's character here, where it kind of shows that she's a functioning alcoholic, and alcohol is her vice, alcohol is her form of addiction, and there was one scene where she's in the liquor store and she gets attacked with a bottle of alcohol used as a weapon, and I think that was kind of symbolizing her addiction can be used as a weapon. And the same thing happened with the drug addict's kid also. He ended up using his heroin needles as a weapon by stabbing the cop in the face with them. So I think that was I think they were trying to point out that addiction can be used as a weapon.
Yeah. Good point. Yeah, I didn't even catch that.
I think that's a good eye there. Let's go into some of my nitpicks, I guess. Let's keep talking about the movie. I'll go into the nitpicks in a little bit.
Let's save the nitpicks from the end, because I think there's a lot to talk about for what this movie was trying to push, and like a lot of the underlying ideas and messages that were there, the allegories and whatnot. We have the teacher who was basically from the synopsis you gathered, if you haven't seen the movie, you gathered that the one day an entire class, all but one student, didn't show up, right? Everyone else, all the other students at the same time, the same night, just got out of beds, walked down the stairs, out the front door, and just ran off into the night and disappeared. So now the whole town is like, what the hell? Like, where did our kids go? And why was it all the same class from all the same teacher? What is going on? And then they have this one town hall, right, where they're trying to figure it out, and the teacher's there, and they're all like, it was her, it's her fault, it has to be her, and this is a witch hunt, right? This is a witch hunt. And I feel like that was sort of a foreshadowing of the end of the movie, where the main antagonist was not the teacher, is an actual witch.
They even wrote witch on the side of her car. Like, it's like, oh, so they told us and we just didn't pick up on it at all. I do think the witch part is interesting as well, because as I watched it the first time, I was like, why is she still there? I just kind of missed this the first time I watched it. I was just like, why is she still here? It feels like she should have done whatever she's trying to do and gotten out of there, because it seems like she was going to get caught. And the one thing I missed the first time I saw this in the theater the first time too, was when the witch is talking to Alex, which is the kid that is related to her. She says to him, I was hoping your parents would be enough. So she was trying to drain the parents and it wasn't working. So I'm wondering if she was also like sort of losing the power that she had used before, or because she tried with the parents and then she's doing it with the children, and it's taking longer, even with like the younger children, to like sort of rejuvenate her. So I sort of wish we maybe explored that a little bit more rather than just a couple lines here. It's not like a make or break thing by any means, but I think that's something that we should have gotten a little more of for the backstory of this Aunt Gladys character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So,
they could have possibly fleshed her out a little bit more. It was already a long runtime, though, although it wasn't a long runtime where you felt like you were watching a movie that dragged. It was paced well. I thought that was a good thing. But one of my main issues is with the witch character, more so the just the costume design and the way she looked. I didn't think she was scary. I thought she looked like a clown, or looked like a caricature version of one of the ladies from the neighborhood of Edward Scissorhands, and just in like the tracksuit. I was like, "What is this? It's not scary. It's just weird." I don't know. I thought it didn't work for me.
see, I didn't hate it.
I was kind of fine with it as well. This is something that we were disagreeing on, Dave, the other night when we were talking. Like, I thought, for one, I thought the jump scares in this movie were good. Like, you saw them coming. Like, you knew something was going to happen, but you didn't know what it was. I thought the scene where she's kind of popping out of the ceiling was that was a pretty scary one. It got me good. And the other one that was really good that we all saw coming from a mile away was when the guy returns home, out in his nightmare scene or whatever, and he's following his son who had been lost, obviously, and the kid's in bed, and you see like he's facing the wall. You're like, that's not going to be his son. Everyone who's ever watched a horror movie knew that something bad was going to turn around, but it was so delayed. It just kept getting you. And every time he like put his head down to cry and then look back up, you expected that jump scare. And then on like the third or fourth time he did it, like boom, there it is. You're like, I knew it was coming and it got me anyways. I also watched this movie twice. The first time it got me. Second time around, I'm just kind of watching with the wife. And I'm just like, I don't know when it's coming. It's going to come soon. She's going to be so scared. And then it got her and it got me too. I'm like, damn it. I was doing this for her and it got me too again. But no, they had some good jump scares. There was some really good gore in this movie. I thought some of the kills were absolutely brutal, like next level. Like, I feel like Terrifier really like set the ground rules for some of these new horror movies. They're like, oh, we can do that. But they still like they're not that brutal because they're still trying to get that R rating and not have to be an NC-17 movie or whatever. But that was brutal. The scene with the forks.
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
So scary, dude. It was like, oh my God. Like, oh geez. But you saw how powerful it was. And then you see why that kid was like just keeping his mouth shut, and like he did a great job acting. Like you said earlier, like there wasn't a bit of bad acting in this movie. Everyone was good across the board, which is great because I think one of the hardest roles to not be corny. What was his name? Josh Brolin's character, Archer in the movie. Like had they got someone that wasn't as good as him, his character would have sucked. Like if you got the guy from Scream or whatever that like blew up that New York Scream movie or whatever, like if it was him, I'd be like,
God,
we would have hated this movie if it wasn't if he didn't do a great job. But he was a believable character. He's the construction guy. He's the one who's trying to put the pieces into the puzzle together because the police aren't doing their job or whatever. And it was so believable. Like I would be that guy. If my kid went missing, I would be that guy trying to put all the pieces together. I probably would have come up with which first. That would probably be my first assumption, right? But that would be. It was just a very believable reaction from all of the parents in the town. The writing was good on this. Kills were brutal. It had its really tense moments. Like the kid who played the junkie was phenomenal. Like
he was really good.
Yeah, he was so good. And it's like, if you have ever visited the city, these are like the questions that he asked. Like whoever wrote his part has clearly dealt with, with people on the street that come up to you and ask for change because they've always got the same story. It's always I'm just trying to get a bus ticket to go visit my sister. Can I get a couple bucks? I'm $4.08 short. Like they always have a really specific number that they ask for, and they all have the same tactic. And it's like, and she did a great job of just brushing him off. And like, no, I don't have any change. It's like clearly, she's done a good job of dealing with that before. But no, Julia Garner is phenomenal. Everyone in this movie was acted so well, and the suspense of that scene when the drug addict was in the when he was in the house, because he's just there to rob the house, and then he just sees the people on the couch and he's like, whoa, what are you on? Like it was just very very believable, just very well acted. I think that was played by Austin Abrams, played James in the show.
Yeah.
Oh my God. But and even like the scene where the tent's getting zipped up and then he stabs him in the face with the syringes, you're like, oh my God, this cop just can't get a break. He keeps getting plugged with these syringes. Brutal.
Well, I thought her popping out in the wood scene was a good jump scare too in that particular one. Going back to the Forks one, I thought there was 2 really tough scenes to watch in this movie. The fork one was pretty tough, and the other one was the potato peeler to the face was
that was awful. That was one of my least favorite things to watch.
Oh man, I was like, please don't go back for it. Please just let yourself die. Please just let yourself die, because I don't want to watch this happen again. And it happened again.
Oh, another phenomenal jump scare. Do you remember the one where Aunt Gladys had just come over, and I think it was the next morning. Alex he brushes his teeth, and then he just kind of like opens the door like a curious kid would, just to have a peek at her, and it's slowly panning across the room. You get the feet, and then you just get the blank stare where she looks dead, but she's just staring directly at him. Like, who? Like, dude, such a good scene. Such a good scene.
Yeah, I really like Zach Kreger. I mean, he's done this, and he's done Barbarian was the other movie that he did. He's getting the Resident Evil franchise. He's going to be doing a Resident Evil movie, so I'm hoping that franchise finally gets some justice done to it. I have faith in him that, dude, that franchise is such a mess every time they try to do something.
Hard to turn a video game franchise into a movie, because you can't just make the video game. And if you just make the video game, people who haven't played it are going to be like, this is stupid. And if you try and like base it on the video game and don't follow the video game, all the actual fans of the game are going to be like, you fucked it up.
Well, you can make changes. You just have to make it horror. They make all the Resident Evil action.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Right.
It's
and I think he will. I think that while we're on the subject of the director, who also did Barbarian, you just got a random cameo from Justin Long. And I was shocked that he wasn't in the rest of the movie, because I was like, oh, he's going to die an awful death, because he always does. And he didn't. That was just it. I was like, oh, I'm like, you know what? I bet this is the same director. And that was just them putting him in the movie because it's funny.
Because they're friends, probably.
Yeah.
And that's
a cool cameo.
I heard, I don't know how true this is, but if it's true, it's funny, is that, so this movie was, when the script was presented, a lot of different directors wanted it. And, Kreger ended up getting it. Jordan Peele also wanted it and was furious that he didn't get it. And I heard that when he didn't get it, he fired the people that were in charge of trying to get the movie for him.
Well, Kreger wrote it, I think. But Peele, I know that he wanted the movie and he did fire the person.
Oh, really? Okay. So, yeah.
He would have done a good job with it too, but I like this movie on its face.
Yeah, I think he just wanted to produce it. I don't think he was looking to direct it, because I think Kreger Kreger wrote it and directed it.
So
it'd
be tough to.
Yeah, he was probably attaching himself as director to the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he wanted to produce it. I think that's what he did with him. That movie that came out. I haven't watched that one yet, but I think he was just a producer on that particular one.
Gotcha.
But yeah, this movie, I think it kicks ass throughout most of it. Let's go back to that Josh Brolin dream sequence, because one of my biggest nitpicks is in that scene. It redeems itself immediately, but the scene where the gun just shows up above the house.
What was that? That was so dumb.
I think it was the dumbest thing this movie did. Like, we're already suspending disbelief for certain things, and that was like a Freddy Krueger thing that we're doing here, and it doesn't happen before, it doesn't happen again. It just felt so out of place in this movie.
What did it mean?
It was an AR-15 in the sky with the 217 number on it. And this scene, I thought it sucked. Just felt like they rammed it in there. And I really think it was them obviously trying to push an allegory for school essings.
Wasn't the room for The Shining?
It's also the room from The Shining.
Yeah, which made it a point to glorify the 217. If you look at red carpet photos, like there was a bunch of clocks with the 217 all around it as well.
But they did blatant Shining stuff in this movie, so I think it had to just be a reference to The Shining. There's two glaring.
Everything you brought up there, Dave, is probably relevant to that, especially with the other kind of things that they put in this movie that were relatively similar.
Yeah,
they did the Jack Torrance scene in this movie too.
True. Yeah, there were definitely shout outs to The Shining. It wasn't 217 in The Shining movie, so it was in the book.
Yeah, in the book.
So I don't know if it's that clear of a reference, but could be all of it.
Yeah. So that was one of my nitpicks, is that they just referenced The Shining a little too much in this movie for me. That just didn't need to be done. So But it's like a small nitpick, right? Like it's not something that like ruined the movie for me either. It's like,
Optically, it looked really dumb. So there was just no way. It took me out of it. Just the gun in the sky there. It was just stupid.
that was awful. That was like that like minuses, like a lot of my minuses is just for that one particular scene because it's just like it's so out of place in this particular movie. Going back to some of the kills in this movie, I think they're so effective because they're like it's not overdone. So like the kills are wild. The one in the kitchen is insane. Just hearing the thumping with, I mean, you see it sometimes too, but watching Gladys walk around the kitchen and you're just hearing the headbutt thump going on is like it's stomach turning.
Yep.
And then you see the final outcome of that, which isn't just the caved in face, but it's the principal's face as well, with his eyes eventually bugging out of his head because of all the damage. It's just a hell of a sight. I thought the effects on that were phenomenal.
Also,
well.
the way that this is just another testament. We talked about it in the beginning of the review, how you get different character perspectives at different times, and sometimes you get like a little bit of overlap. And I like that before that kitchen scene, you got the one scene at the gas station of the principal running up, doing the Naruto runner thing with the bug eyes, and it was such a scary visual. And you're like, what happened to him? What the hell happened to that guy?
Right.
And you get they explain it later with the alternate perspective there, and it was just another testament to how well it was done.
Yeah, so good. Let's talk about the final kill, because that scene reminded me a little bit of Barbarian, where it just like sort of comes out of left field, where you just get this chase sequence with Aunt Gladys after the tables are sort of turned on her, and all the kids are coming after her, and it's not a oneer, but it almost looks like a oneer, where they're just like doing this chase sequence, and she's like running through a house, and everyone in the house is like, what the hell is going on? And then the kids are just busting through the doors and the windows, and then they just rip her apart at the very end, and like that face rip was insane. That was awesome. I just, dude, so good. Good.
Yeah, well, that scene, the chase scene with her getting torn apart, was really good. The whole ending sequence, I wasn't crazy about. I thought it didn't. I thought for the way the whole movie kind of played out, it was really tactfully put together and really well done. And I thought the ending, while exciting and fun to watch, just didn't really fit the pace of the rest of the movie. It just kind of felt. It kind of felt. I don't know. I was kind of just like, but the kill was cool. And then I do like at the end on the second watch through, I liked how the beginning tied in with the end. So I think that it works. And it's not a major negative for me. It's just like, I was kind of like, I just wish there was a little bit. I didn't love the ending.
My only problem with the ending, and I need to watch it again because I didn't catch this the first time, and maybe I just was zoned out on the second time. When the cop gets there with the junkie in the back of the car, right? And he goes up to the house, it's daytime. And correct me if I'm wrong, please, but he comes back out at night and brings the junkie in the house, correct?
Yeah.
But when you see Alex get home, it's daytime and the junkie's in the house already. And
the next day,
there's no way, dude. Like, and because if it is the next day, that police car is just sitting there and the police aren't coming out to find it. Like, that doesn't make any sense. So
one of the main criticisms online I see on left by people was that there are a ton of plot holes in this, and a lot of it's nonsense. It's just people not understanding what's going on.
Yeah,
and I can say that confidently after watching it twice. But that could be one. That could be an example of maybe not a plot hole, but like a minor plot hole.
Yeah, that's always was my problem with the movie, is like I just feel like timeline wise, things are happening too slowly, and that they would be caught.
I think,
or she would be caught.
I think this is an issue that you might have with movies that are shot with multiple perspectives, and you're kind of starting over every single time. And it seems like everything's taking a really long time, but it's not, because if you look at it, if you condense all of the perspectives into one timeline, you have a 33-minute movie or something. So I think that, like, while it can feel like, oh man, it feels like it's taken so long. And I know you're not talking about pacing of the movie. You're talking about I just feel like that's almost like an illusion because you're seeing so many different perspectives, and sometimes the overlaps are different.
No, I'm saying it because they say that it's a month later. Like what we're seeing with the movie is a month after the kids go missing. So
Okay.
So like that's like kind of my timing problem, because that's why you see like the grass isn't cut, all the newspapers are on the front yard
Oh yeah.
of the house and stuff. And it's just like, and you see like the parents are already going back to work and all that because they're not looking for the kids anymore. It just feels like, and the newspapers are up on the windows in the house. No one's seeing the parents at all of Alex. It seems like Gladys would have gotten caught, a little earlier than this, is my interpretation.
Right. Yeah. I think, because that kid would have been questioned numerous times. That were like, we're going to your house, right? Where are your parents? We got to, what nobody interviewed the parents.
Right. They did in the beginning. But yeah, to that point, they would come back and Gladys would be at the house when they were interviewing them towards the end. It's just like,
she did drag in the zombie dad at one point to an interview.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, still, there's so much other stuff going on that just like isn't adding up that you would think that she would get caught. Anyways, do we have any final thoughts on this?
Yeah, it's not really like a final thought, but I wanted to mention it because it was probably the creepiest scene in the movie, is when the teacher was parked out and she's, sitting in the car drinking out in front of the kid's house, just waiting to see if something happens.
Oh,
and
the scissor scene.
She falls asleep. It's nighttime and she's just laying in the car sleeping, and you're looking at the house, and all of a sudden the door just opens.
Yeah.
And it's an empty doorway for a second. And then the person comes out with the scissors and just all disjointed walks over to the car. Like, dude, it was such a good scene.
It was an amazing scene because you thought something horrible was going to happen, and all they did was just clip hair. And then the other thing with that scene, this took the least amount of effort because all it takes is someone standing on the wrong side of the door. But every time that door opened, it was just opening up to blackness, and you never saw like a parent or or Gladys or anybody standing in the door when the door opened. The door always just opened to darkness, and it was just so eerie every time that door opened and closed. Again, probably the easiest part of that movie to shoot was just stand here and open the door, but it was creepy every single time, and it's like that's something that, like, if you can get that right, you're on the right track to making a good movie. So it was just. Yeah, everything about this movie was pretty damn cool and creepy and suspenseful.
Yeah, he shoots his movies so well. It's so funny watching these comedy guys come over and just absolutely crush it in the horror genre.
Well, comedy and horror go really well together.
They do.
And that's why horror comedies work so well together, because it's too, you have to be able to know how to tell a story if you're a comedian, right? And you have to be able to withhold the punchline, and the punchline has to almost hit like a jump scare, right? And you have to be able to work up to that punchline and build a dramatic scene in the same way. The difference is one makes you laugh, one makes you scared. So like the two genres are very close together.
Yeah, they did a good job of sprinkling in like just enough comedy in the right places in this movie. To give you that slight comedic relief. I just think that scene at the end with the kids chasing Gladys was hilarious, but it was almost too close to the end of the movie, where it's like, I shouldn't be laughing at the end of this movie. Like, it's supposed to be like an eerie, unsettling ending. And I understand with the timeline, it's very difficult to put that scene anywhere else in the movie. But I felt like, like having a scene that was funny and then horrifying towards the end, it was, I don't know, it was almost too close to the end for me there.
But I think that's what you're going to get with his movies, because that was sort of like how the end of Barbarians was as well. So I think you're going to see that. That's probably going to be his style, and I'm fine. Like, I'm fine with it. I enjoyed it overall. Do we want to put some scores on this, gentlemen?
I think it's time.
I have it at a 4-1. I think it's a really solid movie. It's probably my second favorite horror movie that's come out this year, behind Sinners. And just that the stuff that I said took me out of it just a little bit. I don't think it's a 5. I think it has its flaws, but I think it's a really damn good movie. I really like the horror directors that are coming out, the movies that they're making. the freshness of some of these movies as well. Like I love that we got a twist on a witch movie, doing stuff that witches do, but it felt like a new version of a witch movie. So I got a 4-1 on this.
I got this one at a 4.8. I would have it at 4.9. And while I disagreed with Dave earlier, I do agree that in certain moments, Gladys's character could have been scarier. I actually don't have a problem with her out in public outfit because it shows her going above and beyond to try to look younger and and she's clearly all messed up with the makeup and everything because she's just a horrible witch who's sucking the life out of people. So she doesn't have time to learn how to do her makeup. I think her character could have been a little bit scarier in scary moments. Like you had a few scenes where she's like lying on the floor and they creeped her up a little bit, but it just didn't look creepy enough. Like it's old lady witch. You could have made her extra creepy. You know, she need to have green hair, green skin and warts on her nose, like the traditional look, but they could have creeped her up a lot more than they did. So I think if she was a little bit scarier, that would have gotten that extra little point for me. And the other point off was the stupid gun in the sky scene. That it was just so dumb and out of place. Also, the more I look at this picture, it's definitely an M4, but that doesn't really matter. But it's I said M16, but M16 and the AR-15 have longer barrels. But either way, just a goofy scene. I feel like everyone universally probably watched that scene and was like, what was that? Like it's had nothing to do with the movie, but either way, what a great movie. I fully enjoyed this. Like I said, I've watched it twice this week, and if ever there's like the rewatchability of this movie is still there, even if you know what happens, but just to catch little things as you go. It is just a great horror movie. It's relieving to see because I think the last few that we've watched in 2025, or at least I've watched a lot of horror movies, even ones that we haven't reviewed yet in 2025, and I haven't really been that impressed outside of Sinners, if that was 2025. It was. Yeah. So it's good. We're back, baby. Got a good movie.
We're back. Rob, I'm surprised that your rating is as low as it is. Not that I'm saying a 4.1 is a low rating. I don't want to get into this again, but I thought you would have had this one higher. I'm actually higher than you on this one, and I thought I was going to be lower than you. I'm at a 4.3 on this, and I thought it was one of the better movies of 2025. I don't think I thought it was a little overhyped. Every time I've seen somebody talk about this movie, they talk about it like it's the best thing that ever happened to cinema, and I think that might have hurt it a little bit for me when I did watch it because I'm waiting for this, like, I don't know, whatever. And I was just like, yeah, it was good, but it wasn't that good. Like it was good. It was a good movie. But yeah, I had a couple of negatives. I didn't like the gun in the sky. I didn't like the design of Gladys. I didn't love the ending sequence there, but it was still a great movie that I had a great time watching. And I thought they packed a lot of cool underlying intentionally ambiguous allegories into this, which I think is always fun to try and pick those apart to see what we're going for. So 4.3 for me.
I can tell you.
Sorry, go ahead, Rob.
I was just going to say, I can tell you what I don't want, and that's the rumored prequel about Gladys coming out. I don't need that movie at all.
I will say that I think they could have nailed this ending a little bit more if they didn't even need to add more time, but in the ending voiceover, if they just showed, the parents in like the nursing home or wherever they ended up, where they're getting fed the soup or whatever. And if they showed some of the kids, like just kind of like learning how to walk and talk again or whatever, it would have been so much more unsettling because you're seeing that pain. You're seeing that, like, it was kind of a happy ending, right? Because the parents got their kids back, but they tried to make it a little bit unsettling by saying that they were never really the same. If they just showed a little bit of that, right? If they showed the pain in the parents' eyes, but like the joy of getting them back, if you showed that awkwardness and then like the realization that it's still not the same, even though their kids are back, if they just showed a little bit of that, it would have been a really, really unsettling ending, which is what they wrote, but they didn't show you. So it's like, it could have been a much eerie, more unsettling ending, and it would have just fit a little bit better, and it would have gave it that edge that, again, was written into the movie, but they just didn't show you. And I feel like that would have bumped it up a little bit more on the ending, and they probably should have done that. But
yeah, the only way they showed that at all was very quickly with Josh Brolin and his son right after the massacre happened.
Yeah, where he's just walking down the street. But I mean, after what just happened, any kid's going to be traumatized anyways. It would have looked exactly the same. So it's like, a little bit of the aftermath would have gone a long way.
I agree with you.
So that is our review of the movie Weapons. What did you think of this movie? Leave your score in the comments. Let us know. Our next movie, I'm just going to call it, guys. I'm sorry to do this to you on the spot like this, but I think the next movie that we should review is Frankenstein on Netflix. So that's going to be the next movie. Make sure you watch that before our next review. And
fun fact, that's what we were going to watch last night. Me and the wife were like, "Ooh, Frankenstein's out. Let's go watch it." And then it wasn't out yet. I was like, it comes out soon.
Is it out now? Is it out today?
Friday.
By the time this airs, it will be out.
Yeah.
Yes. So everybody, it's out. Go watch it.
Yeah. All right. We'll catch you guys later. Peace.